I'm going to make this short and sweet. We appreciate everybody coming. I think between me and my brothers, we know that really the person that would be standing here doing this right now is our dad. He's not here. We're not going to talk about it a lot because we're going to celebrate or we'll all be crying. So I'm going to just 1 second. I just want to say how proud I am of my sister. She's the light of our eyes, and now she's the light of Thomas's eyes, and we couldn't be more proud of him to welcome him to our family, and also Jodi to his family. So, in that, let's eat.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex. I'm Thomas' best friend, and honored to be the best man at the wedding. So I would like to thank Jodi and Thomas for letting me be a part of a very beautiful day. I've known Thomas for over 18 years, and it has been incredible just to see the development of his life. In high school, his senior superlative was most dramatic. That part has not changed. Even just 6 years ago, we were living together in Minneapolis, and I can vehemently remember him saying, "I'm never going to marry you." And then just to see him where we are today. So Thomas doesn't make fair weather friends. He does make just deep connections, and he's always going to be there for his people when times get tough. When we were like 22 years old, my life got really bad, and I had to get sober. And then even though Thomas's life, wasn't much better at the time. Yeah, a little better, but not too much better. He was always there for me. He was always made sure to be present and to see how I was doing and what was going on. I know that's the kind of dedication and commitment that he's going to continue to bring into their relationship and this marriage. When Jodi came into Thomas's life, just everything changed. Our group chats for Xbox just got fewer and fewer responses. I remember the first time I met Jodi, Thomas brought her back to Maryland. He was taking her to a Cats game, and he showed her our old stomping ground where we grew up. We did meet at the Crab House. And just immediately, I could tell, I've heard this so many times this weekend, but I could just tell how smitten he was with her. And it's true. And just how well they do complement each other. And just immediately I knew that they were meant to be together. So just a year and a half ago, I'm glad to say Thomas was able to be the best man at my wedding. Thomas was able to be the best man at my wedding about a year and a half ago. And in that short period of time, marriage is just teamwork. It's finding joy in just the little things. And never stop laughing together, even when times get rough. And, I know you two will create just a beautiful life filled with love. So if everyone could just raise a glass to my best friend and his beautiful bride, Thomas and Jodi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marika, for those of you who don't know. I am Thomas's favorite little sister, and now officially Jodi's too. I'm also known as their perpetual third wheel, personal photographer, favorite dog sitter, and laziest but most competitive roommate. Growing up with two older brothers was exactly how you would expect it to be. I tattled on the boys for every single thing that they did, and they would lovingly bully me back. The perfect give and take. Understandably, Thomas did not start liking me until I was maybe 16, or really until I left for college. No matter what our relationship may have looked like as kids, I always knew that he would be there to step in when I needed it, to support me or to tell me that I was being stupid. He always likes to talk a big, scary, I hate everyone game, but he's always shown how much he loves and cares for the people with his actions. When I graduated from college, he gave me a safe space to figure out my next steps. letting me live with him and fail as many times as I needed until I could figure out where I was meant to be. And that's something that I've probably not told him enough how much I appreciate. After he came home from his first date with Jodi, he was telling me all about how he just knew that this was it. That was no question. Thomas is always one that vowed to never get married, and that's the way he liked it. Just him, the dogs, his man cave, and the 30 TVs that he owns. So when he came home from their first date and said that his heart grew 3 sizes that night, and that now he was able to be understanding and show comfort when I was having a bad day, his words, not mine, I knew that he was serious. I think he just finally let a side of him show that we always knew was there. Having a big brother like Thomas has been the biggest blessing. Someone to always talk crap to and bully, but also someone who's dependable, trustworthy, loyal, and consistent. It's also a perk having my own personal bodyguard. But I think the best thing Thomas has done is find his person. In November of 2022, I was living out in Montana, getting ready to move back to Ohio. And out of the blue, I get a call from Thomas asking me to sit down before he tells me what he needed to say. So of course I'm thinking, oh God, who died? I gotta go home, like what happened? And he goes, Marika, I need your help talking to a girl. Thomas was never the one our parents took bets on to get married first, so you can understand how out of the blue this was. Surprisingly though, I knew exactly who he was referring to, because when he started his job in Ohio at Goodyear, he told me about the most beautiful woman who took him on the tour at HQ. The only problem was that she had 6 kids, and he would never get the nerves to talk to her. So for the next few weeks, while I was in Montana, he would send me her responses, and I would help him figure out what to say to keep the conversation going. When I got back to Ohio, Thomas and I were at our parents' for Thanksgiving. Up to this point, I was the only one in our family who knew about Jodi. So Thomas and I were playing some games. Kind of felt like a sleepover, like when I was 12. We were sharing a bottle of wine, and he was trying to inconspicuously, I didn't drink wine when I was 12, but in the sense that he was inconspicuously talking about this girl that he had a massive crush on, and he was trying not to let my parents know, and they got mad at me when they put the pieces together and figured it out. This was no different from when I was 12 years old with my girlfriend. So no matter how much I made fun of him for that, I knew that that was a side of Thomas I had never seen before. One who was excited about another person and the potential of starting and building a future with them. And when the time rolled around for their first date, I stayed home to watch the dogs and sent Thomas off like a proud mother. And when he got home that night, I knew that Jodi would be in our lives forever. This was proven the case when she came over 2 days later and basically just moved in right then and there. Jodi has been the big sister that I never knew I needed, but always wanted. As soon as she came over the first time, I knew that we would get along just fine. She immediately took part in our gentle bullying and gave all the sass right back to me. And that's really the true test in our family. When she survived her first Christmas with us after a long drive through an ice storm, we all knew that she was filling a missing piece in our family. Her ability to know all of us in a genuine and individual level is something that not many people can do. Jodi cares so deeply about everyone in her life and is so evident with how many people are in this room today. From day one, I view Jodi as my older sister, and that's something that I'm so grateful for. She has made me feel seen and heard in many unspoken ways, and is a perfect first older sister to look up to. Although she thought Thomas and I were absolutely insane during our trip to Europe, I'm so glad that Thomas finally proposed so that I didn't have to carry the ring around multiple countries anymore and worry about it getting stolen. But more importantly, I'm so glad that Jodi said yes. So, to finish this off, as any older brother would want his little sister to do, I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice, but only from quotes from our favorite TV shows. So in the wise words of Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. Only judge each other in the best ways possible when the other one says something ridiculously stupid. But also be open to learning something new about your partner every single day. Jessica Day once said, You know what happens to people who keep it all inside. They get old, and they get sad, and they get weird. Communicate. Don't keep it all inside, because no one wants you guys to get old, sad, or weird. Be a goldfish. Don't dwell on the past, because your past is what got us here today. Everything you've done so far in your life has set you up to be here today, married to your best friend. Forget the little arguments and tiffs and focus on this amazing life that you are building together. Our friend, Sean Spencer, once said, "I don't lose things, I place things in locations which later elude me." So Thomas, the next time that Jodi loses or forgets her phone, just remember it's going to happen again. Gave me cookie, got you cookie. Do things for each other just because. Never stop dating or being friends, and show the other person how much they need to constantly. And when you win the next game night, or nose goes for who has to take the dogs outside, just remember what Sean Spencer would always say: suck it. I'm so happy for the two of you and excited to watch your love grow every day. Thank you for including me in your story thus far. To Thomas and Jodi.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie, Jodi's best friend, also her maid of honor. So a lot of people use the term best friend. I actually went back and did some research just to put our friendship into perspective. So we've been besties for 13 years, which happens to be both mine, Jodi's, and our other bestie, Taylor Swift's favorite number. She would be here if she could. We have been each other's plus ones to 9 weddings. We've traveled to 5 countries together and split the two-person room rate on more trips than I could ever remember or count. Jodi got me my first real-world job. We carpooled to work for 2 years. That's over 4,000 hours of crushing the corporate world together. We sat side by side in a cubicle. We would match our outfits accidentally sometimes. It's a deep friendship. But I could go on and on about how well we know each other and the ease of our friendship, but that's the beauty of it. We have an unspoken understanding and appreciation for each other. Also, the ability to read each other's minds, which comes in handy. To the point where we're no longer allowed to be teammates on game night because it's unfair to everyone else. But just to confirm that we're on the same page, I thought I'd let you hear it from the bride herself and quote some text messages that she sent me hours before meeting Thomas for their first date. The other perspective of the bride side. So, on December 8th, 2022, I texted her saying, "I'll be waiting for an update on your date." Her response was, "You should just come with." I said, "Oh, I'm sure Thomas would love that." And I quote, she says, "Who cares about him? I need you." After their first date, we chatted through all the details. Thomas bringing her flowers, him taking pictures with Santa, even though he didn't want to. Something along the lines of, we kissed, like a lot. On December 11th, 2022, 3 days later, if you're counting, Jodi texted me and said, "And we're exclusive. All in, donezo." She texted me that from his house and then proceeded to never leave. To sum up my story, Thomas accomplished in 3 days what I spent 13 years building this journey. I guess that's how you know it's meant to be. They have the unspoken understanding and the unspoken appreciation. The unconditional support. I joke about losing my girl to Thomas, but it's really fun to have another player on Team Jodi. I introduced myself as Jodi's best friend, but I'm happy to share the title with her husband. Cheers to the bride and groom.